This is ATN Global News at 9. First, the headlines. Tribunal adjourns petition against Governor Diri indefinitely. Navy SEALs tank farm for storing illegally refined diesel. EFCC decries financial crimes connected to banks. President Tinubu says Nigeria's economy not in distress. Ghanaian President Akufo-Addo awaits Supreme Court ruling. Ofiong Idem tops Nigeria's first medal in African Games 2023. Rapper Meek Mills plans to relocate to Africa. And now the rest of our stories. All Progressive Congress, along with its candidate in the Bayelsa State governorship pool, Timipri Silva, has accused the election tribunal petition in Abuja of bias. This is coming after APC and Silva demanded the outright disbandment of the tribunal headed by Justice Adekunle Adeleye and the reconstitution of another panel. The APC and its candidate Silva are challenging the re-election of Governor Doye Diri and his deputy Lawrence Ehujapo in the November 11, 2023 governorship election, while the Independent National Electoral Commission had declared Diri the winner of the election after polling 175,196 votes to defeat his closest rival, Silva of the APC, who scored 110,108 votes. Dissatisfied, Silva and the APC approached the tribunal to challenge the declaration of Diri as the winner of the poll. Silva and his party had closed their case at the tribunal at the last proceeding after calling their witnesses, including the former commissioner of police in the state, Akib Alausa. At the proceedings, the tribunal chairman, Justice Adeleye, said a petition questioning the members' neutrality and integrity and seeking indefinite adjournment in the hearing of the case had been filed, and the petitioners accused the tribunal of denying them their constitutional right to a fair hearing as required by law. In a short ruling, Justice Adeleye adjourned the matter signed out indefinitely, and they would wait for the discussion of the decision of the Court of Appeal precedent on the allegation against the tribunal. Nigerian Navy says it has set ablaze 4 illegal oil refining sites in Rivers, Bayelsa, and Ondo states, adding that the clampdown on oil thieves in the Niger Delta was part of the Operation Delta Sanity. The Navy said its ship pathfinder discovered and deactivated a wooden boat conveying about 4,500 liters of illegally refined diesel along Bakama axis in Rivers State, and also discovered and destroyed an illegally refining site with a large oven of about 40,000 liters of suspected stolen crude oil at Brass Rivers and a Cancer General area in Bayelsa State. Similarly, the troops discovered and set on fire another illegal refining site laden with equipment, drums and pits with a storage capacity of about 30,000 liters of crude oil at Okrika in River State, as well as deactivated and destroyed an illegal refining site laden with equipment, speedboats and drums at Baram and Boara communities in Bayelsa State on March 2nd. The flag officer commanding Western Naval Commander, Rear Admiral M.B. Hassan, said the vessel was carrying about 2 million liters of the suspected product without approval and had switched off its automatic identification system to avoid detection, while oil theft had been identified as one of the factors responsible for the inability of Nigeria to increase its daily oil production. In view of the governorship primary election of the All Progressive Congress in Edo State may not be over, as one of the aspirants, Dennis Idahosa, has written to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, not to receive any other name as a candidate of the party apart from him, claiming that he won the primary elections. The crisis started when the first primary conducted on February 17th threw up 3 winners, including Idahosa, while a rerun primary later conducted on February 22nd produced Monday Opoholo as the winner with 12,433 ahead of Idahosa, who polled 6,541 votes. But Idahosa, who had rejected the outcome of the poll, the INEC chairman, through his lawyer, Chief Wole Olapekun, son demanded to be recognized as the Edo APC governorship candidate, adding that he won the February 17, 2024 exercise monitored by the INEC, where he was declared the winner, and that there was no basis for the supplementary or rerun election, which Opohole won. He also argued that the February 22nd election was not a standalone election, but the continuation of the February 17th exercise, so the result of the former election could not be jettisoned. Away from that, Akwa Ibom State Police Command says it has ordered manhunt for the killers of two elderly brothers in Inong Uyoho Afang Ofyong Isits Mbom, local government area of the state. The brothers Enefyok Etuk and Ebongeti Etuk, respectively, were murdered by unidentified gunmen. The eldest brother to the deceased, Mr. Ime Etuk, who ran into the bush to escape, said his brother's assailants invaded the family house and killed the two brothers, adding that they also stabbed the wife of the 50-year-old deceased, who is nursing a baby, adding that his head was smashed, that his second brother was taken out of the house through the window and killed also. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Odiko McDonald, said investigations were still ongoing and has put in place manhunt to track down the killers of the two brothers. Away from that, Nigerian Navy has sealed a tank farm in Calabar, Cross River State, suspected to be storing illegally refined diesel. The commander, Nigerian Navy Ship Victory, Commander Rotimi Oderemi, who disclosed this in Calabar, said the tank farm was identified following an intelligence report from the military's Joint Task Force in the South-South, codename Operation Delta Save. A joint operation by the Nigerian and Cameroonian navies led to the interception of the vessel laden with 30,000 liters of crude oil suspected to have been stolen from Nigeria. While at the inspection of the vessel at Ibaka Mbong local government area of Akwa Ibom, the vessel MV Jasmine was intercepted by a Nigerian Navy patrol boat NNS Ekulu. Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has congratulated former President Olusegun Obasanjo on his 87th birthday. The governor said Obasanjo remained a towering figure in Nigeria and African history. A statement by Soludo's press secretary, Christian Abureme, said laudable achievements, unparalleled dedication to public service, and an uncommon commitment to the advancement and peace of the nation, the African continent, and have marked Obasanjo's journey, stressing that his visionary leadership has left an indelible mark on the political landscape of Nigeria in a way that continues to inspire successful leaders. According to the governor, Obasanjo's dedication to the ideals of democracy and justice serves as a guiding light for all who aspire to build a better, more equitable society, and wish Obasanjo more years of robust health, happiness, fulfillment, and vitality to continue to be a pillar of support and guidance to Nigeria and Africa, even as his enviable legacy endures for generations to come. Away from that, All Progressive Congress in Enugu State is accusing former Director General of the Voice of Nigeria, Osita Okechukwu, of hurling insults and baseless allegations against leaders of the party in the southeast geopolitical zone of the country. The party decried what it called the recent attack on the leader of APC in the southeast and governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma, by Okechukwu, whereby the former VON DG on the governor to resign as the chairman of Progressive Governors Forum. A statement by the state executive chapter of APC, Enugu State, and signed by Chief Mike Ezeanyanwu, the publicity secretary of APC, and made available to the journalists in Enugu. The party described Okechukwu as an attention-seeking political jobber and a product of media creation who lacked relevance and touch with his political base in Udi local government area of the state. The party cautioned Okechukwu and his sponsors to desist from the ceaseless insult and senseless dragging of Governor Uzodinma's name at any given opportunity. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has vowed to immortalize the late founder of Access Bank, Herbert Wigwe, who was born at the Island Maternity Hospital in the state. Sanwo-Olu, who disclosed this as an event to celebrate the late Group Chief Executive, Access Corporation, Dr. Herbert Wigwe, tagged Celebrating Herbert Wigwe, a professional legacy, said the event was divided into 6 segments and focuses on young habits as a banker, the entrepreneur, the CEO, the builder, and the ambassador. Sanwo-Olu said, "It was unbelievable how a man could give so much, including his words of encouragement, while Wigwe collaborated with other partners to cushion the effects of COVID-19 during the dreaded global pandemic." Lagos State House of Assembly says the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Agency to prepare for the emergency of state police. The chairman, Lagos State House of Assembly Committee on Information, Security and Strategy, Stephen Ogudipe, gave the charge while on a working visit with other members of the committee, and also applauded the management of the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Agency and the corps led by its general manager, Ifalede Onyeko. He said the agency has improved the terms of service delivery and continues to show the way to go about community policing to other similar agencies. In his response, Onyeko thanked Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for his unalloyed commitment to the safety of lives and properties in the state, which according to him is a fuel spurring the agency's unwavering drive for excellence. Away from that, Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo has commended security agencies in the state for the recovery of 53 transformers stolen from the National Integrated Power Project facility in the state. He described the security agencies operating in the state as steadfast in discharging their responsibilities, while a statement by his media advisor Ismaila Issa Ododo said the recent interception of 53 electrical transformers meant for electrification projects in different parts of the state is apt and commendable. Ododo said the 53 electrical transformers, which had now been recovered and kept at an Abuja electricity distribution company facility in the state, would have frustrated efforts to supply power to different communities and assure security agencies of the administration's maximum support to ensure the security of the lives and properties of residents of the state. Justice Evelyn Ayadike of the Federal High Court sitting in Ilori, Kwara State, has convicted and sentenced 3 currency racketeers to various jail terms for selling new naira notes to public for commercial purposes. A statement on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Facebook page said, after pleading guilty to 1 count separate charges bordering on currency racketeering upon being arraigned by the Ilorin Zonal Command of the Commission, they all pleaded not guilty to the charges read to them. Based on their pleas, the prosecuting counsel, Innocent Mbache, reviewed the facts of the cases and prayed the court to convict and sentence them accordingly. Justice Ayadike convicted and sentenced Warola to 2 months imprisonment with an option of fine of 50,000 naira. The court also ordered that sum of 1,020,000 naira recovered from the convicts be forfeited to the federal government, while the POS machine recovered at the point of arrest be destroyed by the EFCC. Issa and Rukayat were sentenced to 6 months imprisonment with an option of fine of 50,000 naira. Ahead of the All Progressive Congress governorship primary in Ondo State, Oladumi Odu, a former secretary to the state government and aspirant, has surrendered her structure to support Senator Jumor Ibrahim. Ibrahim is a senator representing Ondo South Senatorial District in the National Assembly and one of the APC governorship aspirants, while the Independent National Electoral Commission had directed political parties in the state to hold their primaries between April 6th and April 27th. Odo, who disclosed this to her Iwajowa political group coordinators and some chieftains of the party in the South Senatorial District in Okitipupa, one of the coordinators of the Odo group, Chief Alaba Onayojo, confirmed this in Okitipupa, and the former SSG pledged to work and galvanize a group towards ensuring the success and victory of Ibrahim in the April primary. He also said the Idepe Okutupa-born politician directed her supporters under the Iwajopa political group to team up and start working with Ibrahim's Aseroyi Lakasen's group, adding that Odu had earlier met with her supporters in the Central Senatorial District and directed them to work for Ibrahim's victory at the party's primary. Federal High Court sitting in Oshobo has adjourned the arraignment of Oyeyemi Ajagwe Olakon, popularly known as Eme, until March 13, 2024. This is coming after the September 2023. Eme was arrested by operatives of the anti-kidnapping unit of the Osun State Police Command and his case transferred to the force headquarters, Abuja. And the commander declared him wanted on July 2, 2022 for alleged murder, cultism, and armed robbery. While the Emir is facing charges of murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery before the Federal High Court, Governor Ademola Adeleke had appointed him a member of the Transport Disciplinary Committee of the state on January 9, 2023, while the Emir had earlier been arraigned before the court on February 1, 2024, when he was remanded at the Ile-Ife custodian facility, and the defense counsel Edmond Berimomni, however, appealed for some time. Berimomni observed that some fundamental defects in the prosecution application could not be raised orally and needed to be addressed. Stakeholders of the All Progressive Congress in Benue State have given conditions to support the administration of Governor Hyacinth Alia. The stakeholders vow that until the governor recognizes the Secretary of the Government of Federation, Senator George Akume, as the leader of the party in the state, Governor Aloa will not enjoy their support. This is coming amid internal leadership crisis rocking the party, while the crisis was birthed by the struggle for control of the party's structure in the state between Governor Alia and Akume, former governor of the state. The crisis took a new turn during the weekend when security operatives reportedly engaged the state APC executive led by the embattled chairman of the party, Comrade Austin Agada, and other stakeholders. And stakeholders had insisted on holding the scheduled meeting to receive Dr. Matthias Bua, who had just secured a federal government appointment facilitated by Akume. The People's Democratic Party in Benue State has called on the state governor, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, to account for how he's expended 44 billion naira in special interventions grants received from the federal government between August 2023 to 2024. The opposition party in the state, through the state's publicity secretary, Bema Lotium, made the call while reacting to the submission of the leaders of the All Progressive Congress in the state. Senator Tile Gado, that 44 million naira in the form of intervention funds were accrued to the state in the past 9 months. Reacting on Atlantic Television Open Conversation, a security expert, Lekon Ojo, stated the governor Alia has the constitutional right to probe his predecessor as well as political parties in the state, who are entitled by the law, by the rule of law, to check and balance the affairs of both the past and the present administration as should.
To probe the government of Autumn. The PDP in the state has the right to know how the governor spent what has come to the state. So both of them are right. The governor is doing the right thing, and that is the work of the opposition too. The work of the opposition is to question, criticize in an healthy manner the activities of the ruling party. So Hyacinth Alia is right to want to probe Samuel Otom and the PDP in the state. They are not from Oyo State or Osun State or Kano State. They are from Benue State. They have the right to know how the governor, their governor, is not an APC governor. How their governor spent what has been given to the state.
Meanwhile, he urged the governor Autumn to comply with the probe as it will strengthen the practice of the rule of law in the country.
But the only thing I'm looking at there is that issue of 30 billion. Senator Seyi Makinde of Oyo State openly condemned the statement made by the Senate President, Akpabio, that there was no time that any governor received this intervention fund of 30 billion for the federal government. And I think after that time, Akpabio has retracted that statement. So if these people are still building on it, I think they better be informed. There was nothing like 30 billion. So the 9 billion and the 5 billion put together 14 billion, they have the right. And the governors will not hesitate to just quickly publish it or even call a town hall meeting. But they only...
In Taraba State, Commissioner for Health, Balshia Buma, has confirmed the outbreak of Lassa fever in the state. The commissioner said out of the 9 suspected cases that were recorded last week Friday, 8 turned out positive for the viral homogenic fever. Buma assured that the State Ministry of Health is closely monitoring the situation and collaborating with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and the Federal Medical Center, Jalingo authorities to contain the spread of the disease. Acting Head of Clinical Services at FMC, Jalingo, Joseph Kuni, provided further insight on the outbreak, revealing that the center currently has 10 patients in its isolation ward, with some awaiting test results. He explained that due to a fire outbreak that affected the modular laboratory last year, the center cannot perform tests locally, so they sent samples to Bauchi or Abuja for testing and confirmed that 1 medical doctor from the hospital was affected but has since been treated and discharged. Kuyi emphasized the need for more assistance considering the alarming number of cases, particularly from the central part of the state, adding that Lassa fever is endemic in Nigeria, with sporadic outbreaks occurring primarily during the dry season and is transmitted to humans through contact with contaminated food or household items. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mufang has accused former President Mohamed Buhari of being responsible for the current economic hardship being faced by Nigerians. Mufang specifically said that he saw the future under the last administration. He disclosed this during the swearing-in of 2022 special advisors and heads of government agencies at the Government House in Jos, adding that President Buhari left the country's economy in terrible shape for his successor, President Bola Tinubu. Ribadu acknowledged the severe financial constraints affecting budgetary allocations, but reassured the nations that the federal government was committed to maintaining a robust and viable defense management and mechanism. Meanwhile, the country has been hit with a food crisis and soaring prices of goods and services, leading to looting of food stores and warehouses across the country. Plateau State Police Command have condoned off the road leading to the State House of Assembly complex within the Jos metropolis. The spokesman for the command, Alabo Alfred, who confirmed the development in Jos, said the development was meant to prevent a breakdown of law and order in the state. However, a supporter of the APC, Banas Dalo, insisted that the action of the speaker not to swear in the APC members after the Court of Appeal declared them winners was unacceptable. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says approximately 7% of financial crimes in Nigeria are connected to banks. Chairman of the leading anti-graft agency, Ola Olokoyede, who disclosed this during his address in Abuja at the 2023 annual retreat and general meeting of the Association of Chief Audit Executives of Banks in Nigeria, said the banking industry was becoming more characterized by fraudulent activities, posing significant challenges and concerns for the Commission. Olukoyede, represented by EFCC's Director of Internal Audit, Idowu Apoyede, emphasized the importance of collaborative actions from relevant authorities and industry's professionals, particularly audit executives, to proactively address and combat fraudulent activities within the sector. Former Governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, has changed the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court in Abuja, planning to hear 4 billion naira fraud case filed against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Justice Iyan Ekwo fixed by March 7 to hear the ex-governor's objection, while the EFCC had on January 24 arraigned the former governor on the 9 charges bordering on money laundering to the tune of 4 billion naira. And in the charges, the EFCC alleged that Obeno diverted Anambra State security votes to the tune of over 4 million naira. 4 million naira while he was in saddle as the governor between 2024 and 2014 and 2022. The EFCC accused him of indirectly transferring through his private principal secretary 1.2 billion naira from the state security votes account to another account belonging to Moment of Peace Ventures, an entity with no business with the state, and pleaded not guilty to all the counts. At the resumed hearing of the case, counsel for the EFCC, Sylvanus Tahi, said the commencement of trial and had 2 witnesses to present in court, while counsel for the defendant, Onyechi Ibazu, told the court that he had filed a motion challenging the jurisdiction of court to hear the matter. He urged the court to exercise its discretion to determine his motion first before the commencement of trial. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Torid Labaja says the military will not truncate Nigerian democracy through a coup d'etat. Labaja said democracy had come to stay in Nigeria, stressing that the Nigerian army would continue to defend the constitution and not suspend it for whatsoever reason. He also said there has been reports of the military plotting to overthrow Tinubu in the wake of the current economic hardship in the country. However, speaking while declaring open the seminar of the Army Headquarters Department of Military Secretary holding in Abuja, the Chief of Army Staff said his duty of elected leaders led by the military does its job as enshrined in the Constitution. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has harped on dialogue as the only pinnacle to help resolve various conflicts in Africa. A statement in Abeokuta at a youth leadership symposium with the theme Opportunities of Peace, Roles of the Youth in Conflict Prevention in Africa. Obasanjo said efforts to inculcate a culture of peace and security in the youth must be redoubled to spur them to be at the vanguard of promoting peace rather than being used to perpetrate violence on the continent. While the program was part of activities lined up for the 87th birthday of the former president, he said the youth must stand firmly against conflicts in any part of Africa and be against peace and be agents of peace rather than being lured or used as agents of destabilization. Director General of National Agency for the Control of AIDS, Dr. Gambo Aliyu, said more women are living in HIV in Nigeria than men. Aliyu also said young Nigerian women are 3 times more likely to be living with HIV than men of the same age group, adding that 6 out of 10 persons living with HIV in the country are females. A statement released to commemorate the 2024 International Women's Day called for the empowerment of Nigerian women, and the theme highlights the importance of gender equality, women and girls' empowerment, and their rights to healthier lives. It's a powerful development tool. He also said, in commemoration of the IWD, NACA reaffirms its dedication to empowering women and girls, recognizing their roles in the fight against HIV and AIDS, adding that the agency remains steadfast in promoting inclusive policies, ensuring access to comprehensive health care, and fostering education to empower women to make informed decisions regarding their sexual and reproductive health. You are watching the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back. This is Global News and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Tuesday's plenary was briefly disrupted when power outage forced the Senate to abandon proceedings. The plenary, however, commenced after power was restored some minutes later. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, who apologized for the temporary hitch, described the outage as a technical glitch. The Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has recently come under heavy criticism as a result of the incessant power outages in the Federal Capital Territory. Nigeria continues to grapple with the epileptic power supply situation that has adversely affected several sectors of the economy. The power problem worsened in the FCT following recent reports of vandalization of critical infrastructure of the Electricity Distribution Company, reducing power to as low as 250 megawatts.
Before it was rectified. So for some of you who had come earlier, you must have noticed that the place was totally dark. So Clark, get your technical team to be up and doing. It's not something they should have allowed to linger for that long. You understand? Please let us examine the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 29th day of February, before it was rectified.
House of Representatives has summoned the Minister of Blue Economy and Transport, Mr. Boyega Oyetola, over the handling of concession of port infrastructure in the country. The Chairman, House Committee on Privatization and Commercialization, Rep. Ibrahim Hamisu, expressed reservation about methodology used in the concession of the seaport terminals. Others summoned were the Managing Director, Nigerian Ports Authority, Mr. Mohammed Koko, and the Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprise, Mr. Maman Amadou, as well as the Director General of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, Mr. Michael Ohiani Hamisu. Hamisu said the poor handling of the concession process had led to the 5 companies operating for 3 years without renewal of their operating licenses, adding that the development had resulted in loss of huge revenue to the federal government, stressing that there was a need to address the prolonged renewal process in order to attract investment into the critical port infrastructure. In view of the decision of the House of Representatives to call for the arrest of the top executive of Binance Holding Limited, which is facing fraud allegations, Binance, a cryptocurrency exchange platform, was accused of exploiting the Nigerian currency, Naira, leading to its free fall in value. The company is, in addition, facing allegations of terrorism financing, money laundering, and tax evasion, amongst others. While the executives of the foreign firm were expected to appear before the House Committee of Financial Crimes, but they instead sent their lawyers to represent them. However, displeased with the development, the chairman of the House Committee, Obinna Ginger, declared that a warrant will be issued for their arrest. While Binance Counsel, Senator Iheyen, explained that the executive could not appear because they were in custody, and appealed with the committee to accord the company ample time to appear before it, noting that the 2 top shots of Binance who arrived in country last week were arrested by the Office of the National Security Advisor. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kairi, has called for a collaborative effort aimed at addressing the issue of food shortage currently bedeviling the country. The minister will disclose this in Abuja at the sectorial debate on agriculture at the House of Representatives said mechanisms have been set in motion by the Ministry to mitigate the issue of food crisis, while identifying crises affecting the agri sector to include insecurity, rural roads, market infrastructure, amongst others. While Kyari emphasized on the need to research and the need for research and development in the sector.
We are lacking in research and development. When you look at our research institutions are not heavily funded. They need a lot of funding, because what is key today is good variety of seed. Seed is the foundation of any agricultural situation. When you don't plant a good seed, no matter whatever you do, you can put all the best fertilizer and what have you, it will not yield the sufficient the yield that we're looking for. And especially today, we're looking at increase in yield per hectare. And because when you look at agriculture in itself, a lot of attention is being given to production, crop production, increase in yield, but livestock is another huge investment that we need to untap. And that will also mitigate what we call the farmer's hardest clash. We need to develop that. Very soon, Mr. President would inaugurate the committee to look into the livestock reform.
On his part, the Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Bashiru Adeniyi, also reviewed some frameworks put in place by the service.
And as a responsible organization of government, we are currently in the middle of a number of operations. We are carrying out a number of exercises, measures in response to this emergency. So through a mixture of fiscal policies, special operations, and processes, we have put in place a framework that helps Nigeria Customs Service to help drive the agenda of food security in Nigeria. I am happy that the Honorable Minister of Agri that spoke before me talked about a number of measures which the ministry is taking, particularly in the provisions of inputs for crops and livestock. Most of these inputs are imported into the country. We have inbuilt into our tariff structure a defensive mechanism that grants very low rates of duty to most of these imported inputs. And if I have the time to just give some examples, fertilizers, which has been spoken about several times, we don't have local self-sufficiency. Fertilizer currently is zero rated. Nobody pays any duty on fertilizer. It's also exempted from VAT. We also have some machineries like tractors, harvesters, implements, and machineries for our feed mills. They are also zero rated. A few of them are on 5% rate of duty, but all of them have 0% VAT.
In another development, the House of Representatives has reviewed its plan to protect children from internet exploitation. The chairman of the House Committee on Justice, Honorable Olumide Oshoba, who revealed this during a public hearing in Abuja on the bill for an act to provide for enactment of Child Online Access Protection Bill 2023 and other issues of online violence against the Nigerian child and the other related matters, said the bill reflects a broader trend towards addressing the challenges posed by children's online interactions, emphasizing the need for proactive measures to ensure their safety in the digital realm. He noted that part of the measures as proposed in the legislation is for parents and educators to do everything possible to protect the child from falling prey to internet pedophile. Part of the measures is for parents and educators to do everything possible to protect the child from falling prey to internet pedophile. Chairman House Committee on Judiciary, representative of the Speaker of the House, Honorable Usman Bello Kumo, said the bill is seeking to ensure that all hands are on deck to protect children from being harmed or exploited must be passed for the future of children in the country. Stakeholders like the FIRS, NCC, Human Rights Commission, the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Nigerian Data Protection, UNICEF all noted that the safety and well-being of the Nigerian child in this digital age should be the nation's utmost priority. According to these stakeholders, laws like the Children Online Privacy Protection Act have been put in place to safeguard children under age 13 online, emphasizing the importance of legal frameworks to protect children's privacy and security. The call is for a national standard to ensuring comprehensive protection for all children, highlighting the importance of coercive measures to safeguard children in the digital space. The hearing by the House of Representatives is part of legislative efforts to protect children from various online risks. Next is business news. The federal government is to hold public hearings to review the minimum wage across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. The head of press and public relations of the Federal Ministry of Finance, Mrs. Helen Chukwu, in a statement in Abuja this evening, indicated that the series would commence in the southwest. Speaking on Atlantic Television, Beoluwotu, a public affairs analyst, Asim Adams, explained that the federal government plans for a public hearing across geopolitical zones is a waste of national resources, as the looming hardship across the country is obvious.
Methods of wasting state resources in Nigeria. When you fritter, away our hard-earned money in Nigeria here, saying that you want to go and, sit and discuss what the minimum wage should be all over Nigeria. I don't understand what that means. Now, the question is very clear that I want to ask them. Must you go to these various zones to go and sit? You make a jamboree, people will not talk. When they talk, I say, okay, this is what it's going to be. Some of them are even talking, you don't even listen to them. They submit the resolution, you don't even read it. And you just go and spend money. The guest speakers, you're going to pay hotel accommodation for them. For the days it's going to be there. You are going to pay them allowances, etc., as case may be, to go and find how to do minimum wage. It reminds me of the legendary musician, the Africanist musician, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, who said that in one of his music, that in one of his songs, that they will go to America to go and learn how to carry dustbin. Yeah? You travel to UK to go and learn how to carry dustbin, spending money on those kind of projects. For me, I don't think this is necessary.
Speaking further, he called the government to use various details from agencies, especially that of the National Bureau of Statistics, as it will provide more information on how to tackle the issue of minimum wage, including the national inflation rate as it may.
Is that the National Bureau of Statistics has put inflation rate in Nigeria to 32%. If Nigeria were to be a human being and they measure the high blood pressure, because that is the pressure, the inflation rate is like the pressure, the blood pressure of a human being. So when you mention, when your inflation rate is 32%, I have never heard that kind of the situation in anywhere in the world. Even in war-torn Afghanistan, Somalia, that inflation rate will be 32%, I have never heard. Because what we see is they say 6%, 5%. The highest we have seen is 10%. And it's brought down immediately. But when Nigeria says it's at 2%, it means that if Nigeria were to be a human being, it will be in the intensive care unit now of a hospital. And needles are able to be on his body. He can't even breathe. So these are what else you need? That things are difficult. So what do you need to do now? Commensurately, you increase, based on what the data has shown with the MBS. You don't need to visit those states. You open a portal where those will put their submission. Then you look at the submission and open them from north, east, south, and west. Look at what is going on there. Use that to now bridge them and put things in place.
President Bola Tinubu has disagreed that the Nigerian economy is in distress and highlighted the progress of his administration and the opportunities for growth and development in the country. The president, who disclosed this in an address at the Leadership Conference and Awards 2023 in Abuja, represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, the president shared key initiatives and investment efforts by the administration to support Nigerian businesses, students and vulnerable households, as well as to enhance food security and attract foreign direct investment. President Bola Tinubu has challenged the notion that the Nigerian economy is in distress, highlighting the progress his administration has made so far and the opportunities for growth and development in the country, and also highlighted the substantial increase in revenues accruing to the 3 years of government since the removal of the petrol subsidy. This means more funds are available to directly or impact the lives of Nigerians through investments in critical infrastructure and social security. Nigeria is facing leadership, economy and political challenges and thereby deviating
Now in retirement, as our motto says, continuing patriotic service. We seek to engage one another in discussion from time to time on issues that affect our nation, but with a view to contributing to national development.
The aim of our gathering here is to reflect really on what the public service has been and what it is now, and to offer, as it were, pieces of advice to government on the way forward.
We thought we should remind ourselves that civil service is an institution which signifies, first of all, humility. Secondly, service. Thirdly, commitment in terms of imparting knowledge and advising government on policy options that will enhance the living condition and the economy of the country. No matter what, we are not going to shy away from telling the government the truth, because patriotism means telling it how it is. Ought to be reminded from time to time that you cannot do things incorrectly and expect a nation like this to grow.
While speaking on the theme, the way forward for good governance, the retired permanent secretaries and civil servants urged government to be courageous in keeping the nation growing, stressing that government must always make federal character meritocratic and well as restoration of gatekeeping in civil service.
You have to be very brave, courageous to keep the nation afloat. You have to tell the truth. If you do not do that, then the whole purpose of your being former permanent secretaries and of course reservoir of knowledge would not be gained by the nation as a whole. The nation stands to gain, and you should do it with the most sensible commitment that a nation like Nigeria deserves. I thank you for listening, and I know that this particular event will not be a disappointment to all of us. We will return our homes in a much more informed manner, and we will gain a lot in order to impart the knowledge that we have gained.
We, of course, and that's the challenge that we have, and the head of service, the professionalism of civil servants is in question. And as Ambassador Kingibe said, we have no excuse in federal character. There is no nation that does not do diversity management. The only thing is that we need to make our federal character meritocratic. From the Civil Service Commission, we must restore gatekeeping. The civil service has become a place for all comers. And that's the beginning, apart from the fact that there is a total breakdown of competency-based human resource management, and we must restore it.
In addition, the chairman of events and morning session discussion, His Majesty Oba Samuel Olufemi, speaks on the welfare of the retired federal permanent secretaries and head of the civil service of the Federation.
Retired people are generally old people. I don't know of any young retired federal permanent secretary in this meeting. I don't know of any. This means that we are a group of fairly old people, and unfortunately in our country, geriatric medicine is very, very underdeveloped. and people of our age and generation are the ones who need geriatric attention. Many of us are suffering from failing health, arthritis, all kinds of organic cancer, and since the hospitals are ill-equipped to take care of these peculiar diseases, I want to suggest that COFEPS should consider setting up a committee to look into the welfare of members with a view to institutionalizing a unit to take care of them. It's not only the health that is a challenge to retired people, but also our pension that virtually disappeared. What used to be fairly adequate for me 10 years ago is today worth almost nothing. So on these two grounds, COFEPS will be doing a great service to itself and to the public service if we can do something about the welfare of retired federal permanent secretaries in terms of medical care and in terms of working for the adjustment of our pension in line with inflation whenever that is possible.
Africa's biggest economy. Also, the AFDB is planning to launch this year a program for $1 billion special agro-industry processes in 26 states, adding that these structural inventions that it would say would make agriculture more productive, efficient, and competitive. Debt Management Office says the subscription process for 2-year and 3-year federal government of Nigerian bonds for March 2024 with an annual interest rate of up to 16.097%, DMO from this official website said the subscription period is set to last for 5 days, running from March 4th to March 8th, 2024, adding that the 2-year federal government of Nigeria savings bond maturing on March 13, 2026 carries an annual interest rate of 15.09%, 97%. The 3-year federal government of Nigerian savings bond is set to mature in March 13, 2027, while the bond will open on March 4th and close on March 8th, with the settlement dates on March 13th. Interest payments are scheduled for June 13th, September 13th, and December 13th, and March 13th each year. You are still watching the news in Atlantic Television Network. Up next, international tidbits. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo says he will not accede to an anti-gay bill until the Supreme Court rules on its constitutionality. This is coming after the Finance Ministry warned that the billions of dollars in World Bank funding could be lost if it became law, while it imposes a jail term of up to 3 years for identifying as LGBTQ+, and 5 years for promoting the activities human rights groups went to court even before it was passed by Parliament. While gay sex is already against the law in Ghana, it carries a 3-year prison sentence. The bill has been widely condemned by the UK and the US, and right groups have described it as regression, while President Akufo-Addo had previously said that he would sign it if the majority of Ghanaians wanted him to do so. And he is now seeking to assure the diplomatic community that Ghana is committed to upholding human rights. Ghana is suffering from a major economic crisis and last year had a bailout from the International Monetary Fund. and the Supreme Court will rule on the case before presidential and parliamentary elections due in December. About 35 people are feared dead and dozens more were injured as freezing rain and unexpected snowfall hit remote areas of Pakistan. 22 children were among the fatalities, while many of whom were crushed in a landslide that buried their homes. The extreme weather hit Pakistan's northern and western regions, clogging roads and damaging hundreds of houses. And experts were surprised by the snow as Pakistan is typically humid in March. While Mustang Ali Saha, a former director of the country's meteorological department, attributed the unusual condition to climate change. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's provincial government has provided relief supplies to affected areas and announced financial assistance for the injured and the families of those who died. Pakistan's meteorological department said in its weekly forecast that mainly cold and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country for the rest of this week. Although some parts of Balochistan and Kashmir should expect to see snowfall over hills. UN team has concluded there are reasonable grounds to believe sexual violence, including rape and gang rape, was committed during the Hamas attacks in Israel on 7th October. They also said there was convincing information that hostages have been subjected to sexual violence. The trip was led by Primalia Patton, the UN Special Representative on Sexual Violence in Conflicts, and Hamas has denied the gunmen sexually assaulted women during the attacks. The mission team found that there are reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related sexual violence occurred in multiple locations during the 7th October attacks. Hamas gunmen infiltrated southern Israel on 7th October, killing about 1,200 people and taking 253 others hostage, while Israel responded by launching a military campaign in Gaza, during which 30,500 people have been killed. The UN report also described reports of sexual violence against Palestinians in Israeli custody, including unwanted touching of intimate areas, and prolonged forced nudity, while no instances of rape against Palestinians were reported. Conservatives' cultural norms could have impeded reporting of sexual assault. South Korea's spy agency says North Korea hackers have broken into a South Korean chip equipment market. The National Intelligence Service said Pyongyang is trying to make semiconductors for its weapons programs and is now a month after President Yoon Suk Yeol warned North Korea may stage provocations such as cyber attacks to interfere with upcoming elections, adding that Pyongyang's efforts could be driven by the need to chip its weapons programs, including the satellites and missiles. The NIS believes that North Korea penetrated the servers of 2 chip equipment companies in December and February, stealing product designs and photographs of their facilities, and also warned other companies in the chip-making industry to take precautions against cyber attacks. However, the spy agency did not name the firms affected and also suggested that North Korea was able to obtain anything of value, and said South Korea's companies had been a key target of North Korea hackers since late last year. While it believes hackers employed a technique called leaving off the land, which minimizes malicious codes and uses existing legitimate tools installed within servers, making it difficult to detect with security softwares. Ukrainian intelligence says Russian patrol ship has been sunk in the Black Sea after being attacked by sea drones in Sergei Kodov, was alleged to hit the early hours, while Ukraine's military intelligence service said the Black Sea Fleet ship suffered damage to the stern as well as right and left sides. And Kremlin is yet to comment, but some Russian bloggers confirmed the sinking of the Sergei Kodov. Ukrainian intelligence official Andrew Yusov told Ukrainian broadcaster RFERL sailors on board had been killed and injured. Russia illegally annexed the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine almost 10 years ago. Here is now ATM Sport News. Table tennis star of Young Edem has won and become Nigeria's first medal at the 13th edition of the African Games in Accra, Ghana. Idem claimed a bronze medal in the women's singles event, and while experienced table tennis star lost 4-0 to Dino Meshrif of Egypt in their semi-final contest. She also won the bronze medal in the same event 4 years ago in Congo, Brazzaville. He also said the last World Championship in Korea, and this really helped him, and he thanked the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation for their support and belief. Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain are now the front runners for the coveted signature of Victor Osimhen. Chelsea and Arsenal have also been linked with the Nigerian international, while United and PSG are now in the best position to sign the Napoli striker. Manchester United have more money to spend with the coming of Sir Jim Ratcliffe as a co-owner at the club. And PSG, on the other hand, are targeting the striker as a replacement for Frenchman Kylian Mbappe, who was set to leave the club in the summer. Osimhen has a release clause of around $120 million to $130 million in his contract, and has scored 13 goals and provided 4 assists across all competitions this season. Eyimba assistant coach Olarewaju Yemi is set to begin his UEFA B coaching license course. He disclosed this on his X handle, adding that he has always prioritized improving on his coaching knowledge and getting the right certification. Yemi won the 2023 Nigerian Premier Football League title with Eyimba and started his coaching career with Magati FC before joining the defunct Mountain of Fire and Miracle Football Club. Yemi was also an assistant coach with the Nigerian under-17 team. Falconets head coach Chris Danjuma has named the squad for the 13th African Games. 20 players, including captain Oluchi Ohabulem, midfielder Adomina, and striker Chiamaka Okuchukwu were named in the squad. Stalwarts like goalkeeper Faith Omilani, Olushola Shobuwale, and Chioma Olise also make the cut. And the Falconets are in Group B alongside Morocco, Senegal, and Cameroon. Nigeria won the gold medal in the women's football event of the 12th African Games that took place in Rabat, Morocco in October 2019. And now entertainment news. American rapper Robert Ramik Williams, aka Meek Mill, is considering relocating to Africa, particularly Ghana. In a series of posts on his X handle, Nicki Minaj's estranged boyfriend lamented that he doesn't feel safe in America anymore because of the escalating crimes and insecurity in the country. He expressed his desire to acquire Ghanaian citizenship, saying that America was made to tear black men down if they don't follow orders. This is coming after Meek Mill's phone was stolen at a concert in Ghana in 2022 and was later recovered by the Ghanaian police and returned to the singer. Singer Oluyomi Olorutimileyin, aka Bad Boy Teams, says revenue generated from music streams is not substantial income for artists. According to him, many artists reinvest their earnings from music streams or music promotion and advise his colleagues to prioritize live shows, tours, and sponsorship to generate more revenue. Most of the earnings from the music streams are reinvested on promotion and advised colleagues to make more money for shows from seek sponsorship. Chairman Morrison Communication Limited, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, staff and well-wishers on Sunday laid to rest the remains of her late lead commercial proprietress, scholar Ijoma Ejogu, who passed on the 5th of February 2024. Late Ijoma Ejogu laid in state at her residence in Amaju in Isu local government area of Imo State, which saw her family members processed to the casket to view the corpse, followed by Chinyere Igwe associate, Morrison Communication staff, friends, and well-wishers. In their exaltation, the clergyman said that only God can replace the late Ijoma in the sands of memories as it is, and also bids family members and friends to take heart in the Lord.
When we talk of Abrahamism youth, he says Ijoma that give us ginger, that ensure everything goes well. God Abraham will give us another Ijoma. And with that, we say IG, journey well to Abraham bosom. Thank you and God bless you.
Maybe you are crying here, even if you use your head and hit this house and pull it down, cannot bring her back. Cannot change the purpose of the Almighty. Your own is to walk out their own way. Walk out your salvation for yourself by tears and trembling. Let us obey God. Yes? It says, when once you obey God and walk in that way, that old part, they say is heresy. You find rest for your soul. People say we should not worship that way.
Dr. Chiro Igwe joined others in giving his tribute to the late Ijoma.
We know that we will again the resolution morning. Rest the bosom of the Lord. Amen.
We come to pay our last respect to her. May her soul rest in the bosom of the Lord in Jesus' name. Amen.
You were strong when you were living. We pray that you see your way to the Almighty in the name of Jesus Christ.
And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Tribunal adjourns petition against Governor Diri indefinitely. Navy seals tank farm for storing illegally refined diesel. EFCC decries financial crimes connected to banks. President Tinubu says Nigeria's economy not in distress. Ghanaian President Akufo-Addo awaits Supreme Court ruling. Ofyong Idem tops Nigerian first medals in African Games 2023. Rapper Meek Mill plans to relocate to Africa. I am Wendy Agoma. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on all our social media platforms, Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic Television Network. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress.